So the energy of love is the energy of money. The energy of safety is the energy of money. The energy of money is the energy of love. If you don't feel love with money, uncover, uncover, uncover. Well, a song's coming in. You've lost that love and feeling. Any ways that you feel out of love with money is false. So uncover that, uncover that, uncover that. And for those next few weeks of May, cultivate your relationship with your soul and with your soul purpose, and have a focus of letting money into your heart. And any ways that you have beliefs that is evil, any ways that you've taken in that belief, allow it to float away. Again, we bring back journaling. You can write down the belief that's coming up for you about money and let it go, let it go, let it go. Welcome to Embodying You, a podcast of spiritual exploration where nothing is off limits. You'll hear raw, behind-the-scenes stories from people awakening to their soul's path and how they became the healers, mystics, and intuitives they are today. You'll also experience real-time intuitive sessions and healings where struggles transform into breakthroughs that you can bring into your own life. Along the way, you just might recognize yourself in the stories shared. This is Embodying You. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Embodying You. I'm Tiffany Hart, and today we are doing the May Akashic guidance for the month. For anybody who is listening, it doesn't matter when you are listening, your energy is here because time is not linear. So that's all there is to it. And just to say this, whether it's for this Akashic episode or another one, if you feel the call, I always encourage you to go back and listen again once the month has passed. As a matter of fact, part of what helped me realize that these things are real, astrology is real, Akashic records are real, things like that, is when I wouldn't know anything about it, wouldn't listen, and then I would go back and listen after the month was over. It was the same thing when I was in my personal 5-year in astrology. I didn't know, in numerology, my 5-year in numerology, my personal 5-year. And I didn't know about numerology. I was traveling all the time that year. If not every month, every other month, I traveled. Some of them were small trips, but some of them were big trips. I traveled 10 times in 12 months in my 5-year. And it was halfway through my 5-year that I found numerology. And I read what they said about the personal 5-year in travel. And I thought, whoa. And what that did for me, again, in hindsight, I couldn't see it then, except it was proof that my soul was desiring to travel. I didn't understand it then. But what I have come to know since then was I didn't realize the depths to which my soul desired to travel until my 5-year, until I listened to intuition, because I could have chosen to not listen and not travel, which is what I used to do. And because of that, it is part of what drives me to do the work that I do, because my belief in myself wasn't strong enough at first to go all in on this business. It was pretty much whoever happened to come to me for sessions. I mean, I would get clients in crazy, miraculous ways that I would have never planned, never suspected. And my desire to travel played into that because I wanted to have the money to travel. And then there was more that happened after that. And now I am really seeing and sinking in more deeply the transformation that happens when we're working with someone who does energy work, someone who uses intuition, someone who is of high integrity and of truth, who desires to always speak truth and be in integrity. And I say this because I feel like that's where we're all going. And if you're listening, that if you're not all the way there, you're on your way there, or you are somewhere on the path of learning to be more and more authentically yourself, which means being in your truth completely. So I'm already in the records for the collective, but that was the first thing that wanted to come out is give yourself time to process the information. Like if you listen at the beginning of the month or the middle of the month, listen, let it sink in, and then come back. Come back if you feel the call to. You may not, but come back, listen, and reflect on the month that just passed. Because sometimes it can be pretty wild. I never would have guessed when the April guidance came out. And I remember during the April guidance, and in fact, I say it on the podcast that, or, within the April guidance, that it was feeling heavy what they were saying. And I don't remember exactly what was said, but basically, April was kind of that for me. April was, at least leading up to that new moon, up to April 17th. And I never really followed the new moon and full moon before, not too much anyway, but man, April 17th, for those of you who were following astrology, it was a big one. It was a big one. I mean, everyone was talking about it who knew anything about astrology. And those couple of weeks of April leading up to the April 17th new moon, holy shit, I had so many things happen. So many things happened. Starting on April 1st, almost got attacked by a neighbor's dog. Then different things with dogs happened because I pay attention when it's dogs. So, my higher self would bring me things through dogs in order to look inside. But what that did is that brought me to deeper empathy for those whose nervous system is shot, because I didn't really remember what that felt like anymore because I had healed so many things. But my nervous system was shot. I had several other occurrences with dogs that one was just kind of funny the way it happened, but it scared me because I had just almost been attacked a few days before. And then right after that was 3 dogs that I was so scared, trying not to be scared. And I was walking by them, and even though they were on leash, they were huge. And it was just, I was scared. And there were other things that happened to bring up fear and anger and anxiety to lead me to a course called Rich and Resourced. Okay, it's called Rich and Resourced. It's by Aisha Durrani, or the Oath Oracle, if you know who she is. She's the Oath Oracle on Instagram. But I have access to all of her programs. And I kept hearing Rich and Resourced. So I watched the welcome video, and in the welcome video, she's talking all about the nervous system, and she gives an amazing, very simple nervous system practice at the end that has changed my world. And now not only is it changing my world, but I'm bringing it in with my clients and all that. And I'm having more empathy for, say, like a friend who's having a really hard time and who's like, just can't seem to get her nervous system to settle down. I'm having more empathy for someone in my life who I now realize their nervous system is stuck in the freeze state. So not even fight or flight. Like, this person is past that, into the freeze state and into the numbness, the not feeling any spark for life, the spice for life, not even excitement or joy, just stuck. And it was a moment of, oh my gosh, this is it. Just having more empathy. And I've heard over and over again that the nervous system is going to be huge for 2026 in order for us to really come back into ourselves. And the part of the reason why you need to know, I feel like we're just starting to flow into the Akashic guidance for May. Part of what you are all needing to know is that when you have a grounded nervous system, you can receive your intuition so much more clearly. Because when we are out of a frazzled nervous system, we are able to get the mind out of the way. The mind, which is so amazing and so powerful, and is just, it saves you. It has saved you, saved you, saved you. Even with beliefs that you feel like are not useful, that you don't want to have, at one point you needed, and the mind said, okay, I'll do that. I will keep that thought, that belief system for you. I will build that for you so that you will be safe. And then the amazing thing about the mind is when you are ready to release it, guess what? You can easily reprogram the mind to release it and shift it and change it. It's what I've been doing for years for myself. It's what I do for my clients, especially if you're someone who comes in and has multiple sessions where we can actually work on something consistently multiple times a month. Oh my goodness, talk about life changing. But to have, whether you do this for yourself or you work with someone or you find a program or something like that that does this work or that does inner child or shadow work, any of that, I highly encourage you. And you are just being encouraged and guided to start paying attention, to stop ignoring when your mind is spinning, which is just a sign that your nervous system is not settled, to do things to ground yourself to the earth, to do things to connect with the earth. Even if multiple times a day you have to imagine your roots going into the earth, and take a couple deep breaths. Sometimes it's so hard to even stop and pause and take 3 deep breaths. If you think of 3 deep breaths, how long would that really take? 12 seconds? Maybe? So let's actually take a moment together, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Let's take 3 breaths together, and then I'm really going to get in to the Akashic guidance for May for everybody who is listening, no matter when you're listening. Here we go. With each breath you take, breathe in through the nose, slow and deep until you can't take in any more air. And then with every breath out, breathe out through the mouth. And if you can audibly sigh or make a sound as you breathe out, that signals to your nervous system that you are safe. If you are someone who cannot make noise when you breathe out, it is a sign of several things. It's a sign of throat chakra work that needs to happen. It is a sign of stuck fear within the body. And ultimately a sign that your nervous system isn't settled. The throat is such an important mechanism, such an important tool for humans to get sound frequency out of the body. And know this, with each breath out that you take, if you use intention, you are releasing emotions and or beliefs. So set that intention before you start the deep breaths. With that in mind, let's take 3 deep breaths together. Just on your own time, I will cue what I'm doing, but please take the breaths as you wish. Breathe in. Pause. Out all the air that you can. Ooh, sometimes I hum. Now in. Pause. Out. Let it be whatever it wants to be for you. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Breathe in. Out. Every time that I take deep breaths like this, I feel energy release afterwards. I didn't used to feel energy release. I didn't used to have signs in the body, but now I do. There are these sighs that happen. So I always end up having a couple of deep sighs after I take deep breaths. So you can also know that you are your own energy worker. When you take deep breaths, 3 deep breaths is enough to change the trajectory of your life. Do this often, do this often, do this often. For again, when you connect with your breath, when you connect with your breath, you are connecting with intuition. You are actually raising your vibration. You are connecting more to God, to your understanding of God, to the true God. You are connecting more to your guides, to your guidance, to your angels. Breath is overlooked. Breath is overlooked in your society, you see. In your society, you see, what happens is everybody's taking these shallow breaths and they're blaming it on this or they're blaming it on that. Mothers who have had babies that learned while the babies were in their belly that they needed to take shallow breaths, they then blame it on that afterwards. Not that there isn't some truth to that. Not that there isn't some truth to that. But there is this blaming of things external for why we don't have time to take deep breaths, for why we don't have time to take walks in nature, for why we can't sit in meditation, for why we can't play with our children, play with our dogs, play with our cats, for why we need to sit on the couch on our phones, having our time sucked away, lifted up, lifted away, our precious time, the one commodity that each one of us has equal amounts of. Every single person has equal amounts of time in the day. It is true that each one of your souls has a different path, a different choice point, a different timeline, different to-dos, different ways of being. So it is all not the same. But each one of you has 24 hours in the day. How do you choose to use it? May is a month. Hear us now. May is a month for settling down. You've just had a crazy April. We know you all have. If you are doing this work, if you are doing the inner work, you felt a lot of things in April. You felt a lot of triggers. And as Tiffany was recently introduced through a friend, you've had a lot of pizza delivery people coming in and providing you, feeding you different flavors of pizza that maybe you did or didn't like. Triggers, they're just the pizza delivery person. That's the point. They're just the being that you've agreed to come in, provide you with the trigger so you can look at it. For Tiffany, it was also dogs. The dogs were just the people delivery person, the pizza delivery person. So more than likely you've come out of April a different person because of the triggers. If you looked at them, you definitely quantum leapt like the bunny. If you looked at them and chose to alchemize as you were able, not perfectly, being human is not about alchemizing perfectly, but if you chose to ignore them and shove them down, you're going to have a bumpy couple of weeks at the beginning of May. But what you can do right now, at the beginning of May, is go back over the previous month in your mind, ask intuition, hey, bring me the moments that maybe I overlooked in April that I need to overcome, that I need to look at the emotions and clear the emotions. Bring those to me. Bring me a couple that I can work on in this energy of the full moon. Today is May 1st as we are recording, but regardless of when it comes out, that whole span before that new moon in the middle of May is a perfect time to look at these things and to let them out. So those of you who've already been doing this in April, it's not going to feel as bumpy for you. You'll still have things come up. You'll still have shadow and things to look at, but it won't feel as bumpy. But those who didn't, that's okay. You're going to see what it feels like to have had the triggers, but for whatever the reason is, whether you didn't know or you felt like you didn't have time or any of these things, they weren't looked at. But maybe you breathed through them. Maybe you did release some through breath. Maybe you did some tapping on your body in the places that felt uncomfortable. Maybe you did throw up your hands and say, you know what? I'm going for a walk. I'm leaving my phone at home. Fucking forget this. Because frustration and anger were some of the main emotions coming up for humanity in April, because that is what most needs to go, because anger and frustration is related so tightly, so closely to fear. What is the root cause of you not doing what you want to in your life, aka what your soul is desiring to in your life? Fear. It's fear. Underneath it all, it's fear. A lot of times it can be deep ancestral fear of being an outcast, of not being accepted anymore by your tribe, by your community, and kicked out, which again, biologically, your body is responding to it like you're going to die. But instead, it feels like procrastination, or it feels like, I don't want to do that. Oh. Look at those feelings. Sometimes it is intuition saying, nah. But if it is a negative feeling, it is not usually your intuition. Intuition's more neutral. Now, this is not a blanket statement for every situation, because there can be codependency in with it too. Your intuition can come in neutral and tell you no about something. But then codependency, being more worried about what other people will think, what they will think about you, what they'll think about what you're saying or what you're doing, or potentially what they might tell other people about what you are saying or doing, that comes in as a reason not to do something, as a reason to feel, oh, I don't want to do that. So that's different than the initial feeling of, nah, I don't want to do that. So our point here is look. Lift up the blanket, lift up the rug that you've swept everything under. Look under it. Pull out those emotions. Look at them. Turn them around. Because again, May is truly about building upon the foundations that you started to set in April. And May is about taking more action on what you know you are meant to do. May is a 5. It is a 5 month, which, as Tiffany talked about in the beginning of this episode, 5 in numerology is all about freedom. So think about all the ways you can be free. Free to express how you really feel. And there's free to travel. There are things we can do to have more freedom with money, which money is just an energy. Money is just an energy that, if it didn't have so many negative connotations to it, would flow into each one of you. You would all be rich beyond your wildest dreams, because it is just energy. And when you feel like you are capable of collecting this energy, of bringing it into your heart, to your home, to your body, and allowing it to exude out into your life, your home, your family, your travel opportunities, to donate, any number of things that having an abundance of resources provides, not to mention a soothed nervous system. And so this is a year where a lot of people will gain a lot of wealth in their own particular soul journey. Yes, 2026 is a new beginning of money for so many people. It is a 1 year in the collective, which is so much about new beginnings. And the 1 is also about leadership. So we are talking a lot about numerology today, but it doesn't matter if you don't know it. We are just saying that out loud to this being who is talking because it is the fastest way for her to translate what we are wanting to get through, because she's dove into many things. She is a 1-3 in human design. So for those of you who know human design, you know what the 1 means. The 1 is the investigator, the deep diver into what interests you. So allow this year to be a new beginning for you in this month of May, which is about finding freedom. There are 2 full moons in May. There are 2 full moons in May. This is not by accident. This is a month where, again, you're going to begin taking action, but it's not forcing yourself to take action. It is beginning to take the actions. And then when you feel resistance come up, take a moment, take a pause to look at the resistance. Can you take a few minutes to journal about it? Can you take a few minutes to do a voice memo about it? But the idea is to turn it around and say, okay, what is this resistance that's coming in? And in this way, you will free yourself. Because contrary to popular belief, when you look at those negative feelings and when you look at those negative emotions, what ends up happening is you end up finding freedom. Because when you look at them, they're no longer this scary thing. You look at them and then you're more able to release them. There are ways to release them more quickly. We've given some practices before in some of the other Akashic guidance, whether it's through moving your body through dance with intention to release, whether it's journaling. Maybe you take your journaling pages and you light them on fire. Maybe you're screaming into a pillow. Maybe you are blowing your emotions into water. Maybe you're helping water to release your body of stuck emotions and stuck energy. You're all energetic beings. This desk is energetic. It is not solid. You are not solid. Just like you hear the radio station playing. You know it's not solid, yet you know it's there. It's frequency. It is energy. It's energy frequency. The show that comes on your TV, a full picture, movements, sound, visual. Somehow it is beamed to your TV through energy, and you perceive that energy visually through your energetic eyes. It is all energy. So yes, humans have a lot of dense, stuck energy in their body. And any ways that you are feeling, whatever the thing is that's bringing up the trigger, it is the pizza delivery person. So it might be an actual person that makes you feel some negativity, or it might be a thing that you are doing that brings up the triggered feeling in your body. The important thing is to take a moment to pause. Don't ignore it anymore. Now, you can't be perfect in this. We're not asking you to go from ignoring it most of the time to never ignoring it ever, ever, ever. But be more mindful. For those of you who are watching in the video, Tiffany has been doing light language with her hand. Some of you have heard her speak light language. It can come through verbally as verbal frequency, or it can come through hand movements. But it still clears energy, one and the same. And so for those who have consented, what has been happening is she's being guided to do energy work on those who are accepting of it, that are listening. Don't worry. If you are not accepting of it, it is not happening. And if you decide later, I am accepting of it, It will happen then, because time is not linear. And you don't have to know what was happening or what was being said or anything like that. You can just wake up one day and say, you know what? I accept that energy healing, that energy clearing. Because after all, she is connected. We are talking to the consciousness of each one of you, of each one of you, of each one of you, in the ways that we always show those who gather together, whether like this, as we are now, as you are listening to this radio station. We always show it to her like a cloud, like everybody's connected to this cloud, but for a little bit, but for a little bit. And in that way, you are connected with everybody who is listening to this, to everybody who is listening to this. For this moment in time. And there is an exchange of information, an exchange of knowledge, an exchange of ideas, a puzzling together of the pieces. And we can feel that there are a few of you who have fear around this thought. That's okay. Especially if you are one who has been taught that it is not okay to be connected with others. It is scary to be connected with others. Yes, there is a certain amount of needing to have your own soul essence fully back to yourself. We can be fragmented and out and about. We can have pieces of our energy out other places. But usually when those get stuck, they're stuck in traumatic events. And guess what? Through the triggers that come up within you in your daily, everyday life, when you look at those triggers, and especially if a memory comes up and you allow yourself in a way that is safe for you to look at the memory and begin to clear emotions around that. Again, whatever way you want to do it, you can work with someone like Tiffany. You can journal about it. You can take deep breaths. You can go to yoga. You can set intentions to release in multiple different ways. You can ask your angels. You can ask God. You can ask Jesus. Whatever, whoever your guides are, your light being, high frequency guides are, you can ask them, show me how to release this. And if you do need someone to help you, you can say, show me the person who was meant to help me release this. Because when you do that, you also gather pieces of your light body back, pieces of a traumatic event where there's still a part of you left and stuck looping in that traumatic event. So May is about freeing yourself. It is about freeing yourself so you can truly live your lush, luxurious life on your own terms, whatever those words mean to you. Whatever those words mean to you. And remember, money is not inherently bad. It is not. It is your birthright. It is your birthright to have more than enough to do what your soul desires. And what everybody's soul desires is different. And there may be a weeding out of what the ego says your soul desire is. You can let that go too, because those are also old stories. As you release emotions around the triggers that come up within you, your soul desires will become more clear. They will feel more tangible. And, well, some of them you don't even know what they are yet. You can't. You can't, because there are stories covering up your true soul desires, stories of I can't have that, stories of that's not important, and many others. So let us wrap this up. Let us wrap this up. Let us tie a bow on everything that we have been saying to you for the month of May. We want to paint a picture. Imagine you are in a rich, luscious, well-fed forest. You are not wanting for anything here. There is no worry about dangerous animals or dangerous bugs or being bitten or scorpions or snakes or any of those things that you might hold fear of. This is a place where you are so safe, where you are so held. Any magical creatures you wish to have with you are with you. Could be there's a random bit of ocean over here that has some mermaids in it, or starfish, or dolphins. It could be monkeys in the trees. It could be a beautiful emerald colored, emerald studded snake friend that comes up and lays beside you, and you just know, I'm so safe. I'm so safe. You realize that you are one with everything, for you are one with everything. You've just forgotten, my love. You've just forgotten. You've just forgotten that you are one with everything. So as you're in this rich, luscious forest, whether you're driving or whether you're sitting with your eyes closed, allow a piece of your mind to go there, of course, with safety in mind first if you are driving, but allow a piece of your mind or your whole mind if you are sitting in meditation to go to this rich, luscious forest. You can always pause and go back to the beginning of this if you wish to sit in meditation. But what we want you to do is sit down on the ground. Feel your sit bones on the ground. Feel the base of you sitting on the ground, your pelvic floor. Feel your legs. You are sitting without effort. It's so easy breezy. You're just sitting. Everything feels amazing in your body. The temperature is just right. The breeze is just right. The sounds are so soothing, relaxing, and comforting. You hear the sound of water. There's a trickle of water nearby. Or maybe it is the ocean that you are hearing. Allow it to be yours. Allow yourself to settle your nervous system by focusing on the back of your body. When we are in danger, our nervous system goes on high alert, and we are looking with tunnel vision at what is right in front of us. But when we move the focus to the back of the body, a place where biologically we don't look when we're in danger to the back of the body. If there was danger behind us, we would turn around. Think about it. We would turn around. Focus on the back of your eyes. Focus on the back of your neck, the back of your shoulders, the back of your spine. Allow yourself to take a deep breath and exhale out with an audible sigh if you are able to. Even from that single deep inhale and exhale, Tiffany had a release. It is happening for you too, even if you don't feel it yet. Signs of release might be watery eyes. It might be a yawn. It might be a burp. It might be a fart. Yes, you heard us right. It might be a toot, as some might say. Allow yourself to just sit here for just a moment. And imagine what it would feel like to live a life that most of the time felt like this. The more time that you spend time in your imagination, which is not actually imagination, it is real. It is not imagination, it is real. As you allow yourself more and more to sit in a calm space such as this, you will more easily be able to bring your nervous system here when you are in the middle of things which feel trying, which feel hard, which feel new. Remember that anything new is going to affect the nervous system. And it is just, what do you do? What do you do with this feeling in your body? So often we are just afraid of how our bodies feel. If we are scared about doing something or having something or being in a way that is different from how you are now, it is actually fear of a feeling. I want to say that again. So often, when we humans don't do something in our lives, it is because we are afraid of feeling a feeling. Our minds may be telling us, oh, I don't want them to be mad at me. But why wouldn't we want them to be mad at us? Somewhere in your life as a child, if you have this particular story, which most people do on some level, somewhere in your childhood, you learned, I am not emotionally safe when people around me are upset. I must keep the peace. And so now you are 38, 44, 99, making decisions based on someone else potentially getting upset, which really underneath that is you're scared of feeling uncomfortable. But remember this, there's freedom on the other side of lifting up the rug and looking at the uncomfortable feeling or emotion. And if you need support with this, get support. There's free support. There's paid support. There are so many different ways to get support. This is what May is calling you forward to. So we want to recap a little bit because we know that a lot has been said and we have journeyed quite a bit here. If you wish, keep this piece of your mind here in this forest area for a minute as we talk about this. May has 2 full moons, 2 chances for big release, 2 themes of release. We will mostly talk about, we have mostly talked about the Scorpio full moon because it is May 1st. And that full moon energy is there for a few weeks until the new moon hits. Remember, those first couple of weeks have to do with looking at the shadow side of yourself, looking at those pieces of yourself that you don't like, which includes the amazing pieces of yourself that you have deemed as unacceptable. Maybe you were made fun of for being the smart kid in class, so you shoved I'm smart under the rug and said, nope, not safe to be that. Maybe you are a very attractive person as far as society's standards go, and maybe you were sexually assaulted and you felt the blame was on your physical appearance and how you look. And so you took I am pretty and put that under the rug. There are so many different ways that we take things that are also good and shove it under the rug. Now is the time to lift up the rug, pull those things out, thank them, look at them, thank them, love them. And if appropriate, and if you understand doing shadow work, to integrate with those pieces of yourself. Only after you have looked at it and journaled about it and worked your way through it, then ask that piece of you, that version of you, if it would like to integrate with you now. You can breathe it in once it's turned into a golden light. Again, you can find guidance on how to do this. If you don't already know how to integrate your shadow. But this is key. And then with the new moon, with what is coming for the new moon, it's really about expressing your desires for what you really want in life and taking the actions that match that. Money, we've been talking about money so much here because the new moon, there's going to be a new facet of money that comes online for those who are working on their soul desires. You don't have to be in your soul desire career in order for the money to start to come to you. But it is about reconciling your beliefs and your views on money. Now, are we saying that with the new moon, if you work on money, you're all of a sudden going to start having cash come in? We're not saying this because everybody has a different relationship with money. And when Tiffany first started doing money work, it wasn't cash that came in. It was a free trip here, a free trip there, a free laptop here, or a free latte there. You see, she wasn't at first able to accept cash beyond her 9 to 5 job. And so it took time for her to begin to energetically accept cash into her life. So remember, money is just energy. It is about receiving. How can you receive? And then how can you have a more beautiful and aligned relationship with money? Because this new moon has the Taurus energy of earthly grounding, grounding your relationship with money. And so if you are still in your imagination, which again is real, it is not pretend. If you are still in this forest, maybe take a moment to imagine that all of the leaves on the tree is money. And it is money that you can reach out and grab, not in a greedy way, just, oh, I would like to do this thing. Let me pull in the energy of safety, protection, love into my being, for money is just energy. So the energy of love is the energy of money. The energy of safety is the energy of money. The energy of love is the energy of money. The energy of love is the energy of money. The energy of money is the energy of love. If you don't feel love with money, uncover that. Well, a song's coming in. You've lost that love and feeling. Any ways that you feel out of love with money is false. So uncover that. Uncover that. Uncover that. And for those next few weeks of May, cultivate your relationship with your soul and with your soul purpose. And have a focus of letting money into your heart. And any ways that you have beliefs that is evil, I've been hearing that money is the root of all evil. Any ways that you've taken in that belief, allow it to float away. Again, we bring back journaling. You can write down the belief that's coming up for you about money and let it go, let it go, let it go. Because you can still release in a new moon energy. Of course you can. You're releasing any energy that's keeping you from the seeds that you planted around the new moon. And the thing is, even if you never knew the full moon or the new moon, if you're in touch with your intuition, you do your own, it's happening anyway. That's what we want to say. It is happening anyway. But you can have it be a faster change, a more profound change when you know what to focus on. And then that will lead you into the final shedding of that last full moon in May. And we won't talk about that here. You will know then where you want to go with that energy. That is it. That is it. That is it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time, and your energy, and your love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, there you have it. I'm always surprised at what comes through, and let me tell you, sitting in the forest like that, I could see it, I could feel it. I feel so calm right now. I feel so calm. I feel so calm. And at the same time, I am feeling under the collarbones. If you are watching or listening to this, go ahead and just do some light tapping under your collarbones to release whatever might be there. This is an area that, as I've been releasing in April, as I have been really asking my body, taking a moment rather than immediately clearing emotions to say, hey, where where in my body is this coming up? So much of it has been directly under the collarbones. And when I looked up, okay, what's the purpose of the collarbones? Like, why is so much there? And part of what I got was, if you think of the arms are meant to hug, right? We hug, we reach for things. Like we might reach for love. Like, and we're thinking about things that would get stuck in the body. And so for me, it had to do with there was a little bit of like loneliness in it, loneliness and wanting to hug people in my life. I mean, my kids are with me every other week. So every other week, I can't physically hug them. And my boyfriend, he lives 2 hours away and he has a crazy work schedule. So sometimes we only see each other a couple of times a month, sometimes once a month. And so again, I want to be able to hug him and I can't always do so. But if you even think about all throughout life, maybe if we were a kid and we got in a fight with a friend or a boyfriend back then or our parents, and really what we wanted was just to be comforted, to be held and hugged, but we weren't able to. Well, think about it. That collarbone helps hold the space open that's over the heart. So it's like this bridge between the heart and the arms. And I thought that was so beautiful, because part of what I've heard so many people say in energy work is that we have these centers in our palm that have to do with the heart. And not only that, but if we're sending energy to people, like let's say we're sending loving energy, we can send it through the palms of our hands. We can send out energy that way. Now, I definitely see my heart burst energy out to people also, sending them love. But there's so much here. And so when I realized that, oh, under the collarbones is painting a story of when I just wanted to be held or hugged, and I didn't feel like I could be, or that I was safe to do so, or whatever it was. Or maybe it was something where I felt guilty and I had done harm to someone and I just wanted to be able to hug them or hold them, and I couldn't. So these are the kinds of things that I have been finding for me have been trapped under the collarbones. And so if you do these same practices and you feel something on a part of your body, EFT tapping is something you could look into. I have a recommendation. So if you are interested, you can find me on Instagram. You can DM me on Instagram. It's going to be in the show notes. But there's a woman named Amy Clementi. She's done tapping, EFT tapping. So she teaches you what's called the recipe. There's a recipe for tapping where it has to do with the top of the head and certain points on the body, like on the face and on different parts of the body, so that you can hit the different organs that might be holding energy. So if you're interested in that, she's actually done it to go along with the human design gates. It's really, really cool. But even if you don't know that recipe, you can simply, any part of your body that feels a sensation, when you ask your body, show me where this is trapped in my body, you can start tapping on that area. And what'll probably happen is you'll kind of forget about it. You'll forget to keep tapping. And that's probably because it's released. That is if you aren't distracting yourself or aren't trying to like jump up and move on to something else. Let's see. What else wants to come through for the end of the day? before I get off of here. They do want me to talk about the blue jay. I have a blue jay feather. For those of you who can see the video, I'm holding it up. So on April 1st, which was, April was Apriling. April was Apriling. Holy moly. April 1st, I almost got attacked by a neighbor's dog. May 1st, my cat, who's an indoor-outdoor cat, brings a blue jay, a full-grown blue jay, into my bedroom. I am woken up by this. He brings it in, and then he leaves the room, and I'm left with the blue jay in my bedroom. And occasionally, he will bring animals in. And I've had this whole, I don't have it anymore, but I used to have this internal struggle with, do I just lock him out all night? Do I find a way to lock him in during the evening because he doesn't have a litter box inside? Because in this particular home, there was not an option for a litter box in this home. Like I tried. And honestly, he's much more happy this way anyway. And the way I see it is, if my soul is actually desiring for him to be an indoor-outdoor cat, and it's only like guilt, or even like, I do feel, I'm going to release it because I feel some guilt and a little bit of shame at saying this, because I here in my head, someone might, there might be someone who casts judgment, who has their own judgments about someone who lets their cat, who, cats are hunters who go in and out. Someone might have judgment about that, right? And I will say, I used to declaw my cats, their front claws. And then I had a cat who died at the base of a tree when it was attacked by a couple of dogs at the base of a tree. It couldn't climb the tree. And so I don't do that anymore. I learned what it meant to actually declaw cats. I thought it was just removing nails, but it's not. It's having to release a whole knuckle. Like, imagine us without the tips of our fingers. That's what it is for cats. And so it's been this whole thing with even my cat being able to freely go in and out, and, trauma and guilt and shock at him bringing something in and maybe killing it while I was sleeping, which didn't happen. It has not happened very often, but it has been very traumatic for me. And also knowing that my belief is that those animals sacrifice themselves to bring me something. And my cat is also a part of it, right? So my point is there's really been a lot of healing in myself, with my nervous system, with seeing how disconnected I have become from seeing dead animals. And what I mean by that, I'm like so shocked at where this is going. Okay. But think about it this way. So the first time that my cat brought in a couple of bunnies, 2 bunnies in one night within 30 minutes of one another, one survived, one did not. So I took one outside. The other one, I was just holding it. It was just like, it was like a little stuffed animal, but I was crying, and I was on the phone with a friend who's from the country. And for me, I've been a city girl my whole life, and she's from the country. And so she did not view the situation as someone who, in the country had cats that helped keep, the rabbit population or the mouse population or whatever it was to a manageable level. She didn't have the same thoughts or guilt or anything that I did. And so it was incredibly healing. So I've been on this journey, and especially whenever I've gotten in my Akashic records and I've asked my guides about it, it's been a message of, look at how disconnected society has gotten from seeing a dead animal. At one point, you had to hunt the animal. At one point, it would have been celebrated, the cat bringing food to you, or the dog, if someone's hunting and the dog catches something and the dog brings it to you. That would have been a happy, glorious thing. But now we've gotten so disconnected from it. And part of what they said was, part of the reason why we've gotten so disconnected from it is horror movies. And again, I still say we very purposely have been disconnected on how to live off the land, how to hunt if we need to. And, like, let's say if we were to hunt a deer, how to take that and use that meat to feed your family for a long time. Or if it was buffalo or bison, right? Being able to give gratitude to that animal and then use the meat to eat, to sustain life. So this is part of what also came in as a lesson with my cat, bringing in animals besides getting rid of any guilt. Well, I can't say any because as I'm talking about it, I'm having new come up, right? But that's okay. That's okay. We should never ever think that we have fully cleared something, because then we just, when it comes up, we're like, oh, I thought I cleared that already. Well, we've reached a new level. You have cleared what you cleared, and then now you've reached a new level. So it feels like that is wanting to come through right now, just by way of saying there are multiple reasons why things happen, because there are other reasons too why that whole scenario happened, besides the message of the rabbit, besides the times that I looked into my cat's Akashic records and could see his lifetime before this, and then the next lifetime he's going to have as a cat, and then the lifetime after this that he's preparing for as being an indoor outdoor cat as a jaguar. To be able to figure out hunting now to help with that lifetime. Like it's absolutely crazy. When you start knowing and feeling into past lives, future lives, and things like that, to understand the story. I mean, it was the same thing that I did whenever I had the neighbor's barking dog that bit me last summer. That I've got lots of things with dogs, but I, in order to try to understand that dog more and stop feeling so bitter and resentful and frustrated with it, I finally one day looked into its life. And in this lifetime, it felt like nobody cared about it. It felt very neglected. Its owner the way it felt was its owner had just left it. It didn't realize that the owner was going to come back. I mean, it was with my neighbors for about 3 months. And also, it was preparing, believe it or not, for a lifetime as a little boy where that feeling of neglect needed to already be seated in the body, in hopes that he would overcome those feelings of neglect in order to help the world in his own special way. And nothing is linear. Nothing is linear. So, meaning, who knows when that lifetime as a little boy was compared to its lifetime now as a dog. Lifetimes are not linear. Lifetimes are not linear. It is taught often like that. Oh, you've got to progress through here, 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 here. But it's all happening at the same time. We just can't quite wrap our minds around that. We just can't quite wrap our minds around that. Okay, so bringing it back to the blue jay this morning. I've been doing healing work and energetic work on my relationship with my cat, especially when he got really, really sick. It was right after spring break. Oh, I guess I'm telling the story now. It's funny. I thought I was going to tell this story the last episode. What happened is I went on spring break. I did some major inner healing. I always do this whenever I take trips to the country, take relaxing trips. I make sure that I take time to go where my intuition leads me to do inner healing. Well, one of the things that I asked for is show me miraculous healing. I have seen miraculous healing in this way and in that way, but like I want to experience it firsthand. So I come home and my cat is sick. He doesn't come greet us. He's just laying around, very lethargic. And I think I know what it is. I think it's a bladder issue, because he'd been having bladder issues, but I'd changed his food and done all the things. And so I was like, all right, well, if it is that, I honestly can't do anything about it. I've already taken him to the vet twice. I already know what they're going to say, what they're going to do, like already. Right. So that evening I said, okay, I'm leaving it for tonight. Well, it was the next day that I realized he had a big lump on his left side. And it was probably about the size of a baseball. It was quite wide, and it was maybe like kind of like a third of a baseball. I mean, like you could see it when he walked. And then, long story short, because it doesn't feel like I'm meant to tell the whole long story. Not only did I do energetic work on him, because at this point I was just like, okay, I already know what the vet's going to do. And intuitively, I just felt like I needed to work on him. I asked for a miraculous cure. and I needed to work on him. So I worked on him. I engaged my friend my friend Amy Michelle, who works with animals and who does energy work and all that, to also work on him. And it started shifting and changing. It then ended up turning into something that was not baseball, but more like tennis ball. It started shifting and changing. And then after one really big, powerful energy clearing session that she did with, again, me consistently working on him also and putting him under light therapy, because I also do light therapy, just doing all these different things, it opened up, it drained, and he is perfectly fine now. He is perfectly fine now. But part of what happened during that time, besides me having more appreciation for him and more love for him, was really seeing through the work that Amy Michelle did. Because while she knows a lot about me, she doesn't know everything. Like, we can't possibly know everything about our adult friends, especially if we don't even live in the state and we don't get to hang out very often. But when she tuned in with him to give me messages that he wanted me to know, some of the things that she was saying, she could not have known in the way that she said it. And so one of the things that she said is, he said, "I don't like it when mama yells at me." And she gave a scenario of me like peeking at him and yelling at him. And I knew immediately this was if he would be under my bed. And, this one or two times that he had a rabbit under my bed, and I would lift up the bed skirt and be like, "No, no, drop it," just yelling at him because I am freaking out. And I'm like, my cat is evil and I don't know what's happening. And all of these like traumatic feelings that needed to come up, I needed to feel so I could alchemize them, so I could release them from my body. Because again, how can we move forward in our soul journey we can move forward in our soul journey, but when we are here to get back to our soul mission, to what we are here to do on the planet, we need to look at these emotions to release fear. And sometimes the fear is going to come up as something really big, like the fear of like an animal dying in your presence and you being horrified by it, right? Or like almost being attacked by a dog. I could feel the spot on my arm that he was going to go to. It was the weirdest thing. I just could feel my right arm. And I thought, wow, is this really about to happen? And so all of this fear has come up in all of these ways that has made me look at it, made me clear it with a quickness. And I have been very, very glad that I have these practices, or that maybe I had a friend who also does energy work that could just help me clear these things a little more quickly. And so I had made promises to my cat that, okay, I would rather you not bring in animals that you are wanting to eat. And I even have been working on giving him images of where outside he can be. Not inside. Look, this is a perfect spot for you to go with whatever the animal is, right? And I had been working on what my reaction would be if he did it again. And so this morning, I heard the telltale signs of, oh shit, he's got an animal. It was 6:15 in the morning. I was so surprised. It wasn't the middle of the night. It was 6:15 in the morning. And I didn't yell, but I started talking calmly to him, and I said, "Take it outside." Okay, just take it outside. Just take it outside. Or leave the room. Well, he left the room. And I hear something in here. I keep hearing scratching. But this whole time, again, I think it's a rabbit or something. Although the scratching was throwing me. So I'm looking under the bed. I'm looking behind the mirror. I don't see it. And then all of a sudden I look up, see movement, and I look up. And there it is, a full-grown blue jay. How the hell he got a full-grown blue jay inside? Because guys, the way he gets in, it's like a sliver. I have it closed as much as possible. Okay. So that he has to really work at it to bring something in. But there it was. And here's how this story wants to be wrapped up. The story about the blue jay. Oh, well, actually, I got my miraculous cure with the cat, right? I could have gone the traditional methods, but instead I chose to clear energy because what our animals bring to us is a reflection of us. So there were things in my family to heal. There were things for me to heal, different dynamics and things like that he was trying to show us. There were also things in regards to my own skin that has not healed yet, that is on its way for healing. It feels like a moment, because if you listen to the last episode, it was after his first skin issue 3 years ago. I'm coming on 4 years in this house, actually. It was about 6 months or so after his first skin issue that I started presenting with skin issues. And so this feels like a closure of the skin issues. Like he really brought it home, and it feels like there's closure happening. Because everything is energetic. Everything is energetic. Everything is energetic. And so, yeah, so much was healed with that. But with this blue jay, I could have gone into nervous system overload. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But instead, I shut the door and I asked God, I said, okay, work through me. Show me what to do. So I opened up both windows in my bedroom. I turned off all the lights. I took the curtains and I folded them up over the top so that it wouldn't fly into the glass, so that it could very easily go out. And then intuitively, I moved a piece of furniture in front of each window so that it wasn't trying to like fly out all perfect when it was already kind of freaked out, but so it could land and then kind of hop its way out if it needed to. And the next time that I came in to check, it was gone. It had done it. But while it was still in here, I sat and I connected to myself, first and foremost, to my heart. I connected to God. I connected to my cat, who thankfully I no longer felt was evil or bad. I was very glad he hadn't killed it, though. I will admit that. And then I connected with the blue jay. I connected with what it's feeling. And the thing is, animals know how to release fear. We once knew how, but we have been disconnected from our bodies, okay? But the bird was releasing its fear through having an open mouth, and that's what it was doing some of the time while it was in my room. So when I tuned in with it and all the lights were out in the room and it could see light through the windows and it was still sitting up in this, I have really tall ceilings in my bedroom. And so it was sitting up on this ledge and I could sense it up there. And it was so present. It was so present. It wasn't harboring any feelings about the cat or even really about me. I did feel like something about it made it see me, a human self, in a like a little bit different, like, oh, okay, she came in, she didn't try to get me, okay. But I could see that it was focusing on a window, on an opening, and it was feeling the instinctual pull towards a mate. Survival, right? Get with a mate, make babies, make sure those babies survive. So I felt that it was looking at that. And then I felt it. Well, what I was actually doing is giving it the emotions of, yes, I was giving it the emotions of, if you land on this table, you can just fly out and feel the freedom and be with your mate. And not that it wouldn't have done these things anyway, but it was really cool to do this because when I work with clients, we do similar things. We download positive beliefs and things like that because, yes, you can energetically download beliefs. You can do this yourself. I highly recommend releasing a few beliefs first and then asking, is there a belief I can download right now? And cumulatively over time, you will notice a difference. You will notice a difference. It's the coolest. But so I was doing something similar with this bird of, yes, this is the way. This is safe. It doesn't have to take very long. And the next time it came in, it was gone. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I heard it. I heard like a ka-cha, like a sound of it landing on something, but I wasn't sure what it was doing. But I guess that must have been when it flew outside. And it was probably not long after that that I heard the telltale blue jay squawk. I mean, they have a very loud, alarming squawk. And I thought it was a partner outside, because I still was thinking, oh, it's still in my room. But it wasn't. And so it was just part of what the blue jay brought to me, besides helping me see how much I have healed and how I handled that situation. But part of what the blue jay brought with me and being able to connect with the blue jay in the way that I did was it brought me back to presence, to the current moment. That's all we have. That is all we have. Truly is the present moment. The choices that we make right now. And yes, we can go in if it is called for, if it is necessary, and heal things from the past and heal things in the future. But it is right now that we are living in. And that is what we're being called back to as a species, as a humanity, is to get more animal-like. And what that means isn't more dangerous or more fearful or anything like that. For we are human. We are not a deer, a skunk, a rabbit, right? We are humans. But it is to remember that it is actually the purpose of life is just being. And if we're not doing something every moment and we allow time to just sit in silence, sit in meditation, sit and listen to music, sit and puzzle, sit and read. When we allow ourselves to just sit or work in the garden, something that makes us feel good and makes us feel calm and connects us to the earth, that is what life is about. And when we do that, we open ourselves up to hearing our intuition. When we have these moments of presence. And guys, if you're listening, you already know this. Connecting back to our intuition is paramount right now. The world is changing. We all know it. Are we going to live in the fear of it? Or are we going to sink into our intuition and do what our intuition is calling us to do? Even if it requires bravery, even if it includes us moving through fear. Because I can tell you right now, even something like having a podcast that any Tom, Dick, and Harry, right? Who came up with that? Anyway, anybody can have a podcast and people can be putting out information that's actually very hurtful, very hateful. Still have a podcast, still have people listen. So why not someone who has a love for people, who only wants to spread love, who only wants to empower people? Why wouldn't people like that, not just me, why wouldn't people like that need to be heard in whatever it is they have to share? Because whatever it is they have to share on a soul level, whoever the fuck listens has a soul contract with them to listen to whatever the fuck is being said. All these cuss words are coming in. But it's as simple as that. So I would not be here where I am now, talking to you, being pretty consistent, if I might add, about putting out podcast episodes if I hadn't looked at underlying fears like what this episode has talked about. There were times where I would sit down to record And I would start to feel these resistance feelings. And rather than powering through, I would sit for a moment and I would say, okay, do I have something to release? Yes, I do. And I would release until my intuition or my muscle testing told me I don't have anything else to release. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. So I will end this Akashic Records episode by just saying, thank you for being here. Again, release the fear, release the resistance, release the shadow sides of yourself. Look into shadow work if you're not already doing it. You can come into a session with me to do shadow work. Really, it's whatever your intuition, whatever your highest self calls for while you're here. You can come into a longer container with me. Right now, it's called Answered Prayer Mentorship on my website. It's going to at some point be called Unveiled because that's the truth of it. We are unveiling who you really are. Like that resonates with me. That has me so excited. And so when the time comes that the energy comes in for me to change it, I will. But that is where you can find out information about a 3 to 6 month container with me. And that's one where if you don't want to do one-off sessions and piecemeal the work, but you actually want to come out of it feeling like such a changed person from the beginning to the end, like Mika says. And there's an episode called something like 10 years and 3 months. And she says that she believes the 3 months that we did so much energy work together, that was like 10 years in talk therapy. And so it really is that powerful, again, whether it's with me or someone else that you trust, because you know where to go. And then the other thing that I want to mention too, every Friday from at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for all of 2026, I, along with some friends, hold a free gathering over Zoom called Soul to Soul Hour. You can find an email if you want the link for that. You can find an email in the description, in the show notes. That's what I'm trying to say. And so you can email to get the link. And it is simply a space for like-minded, like-hearted individuals to come and share whatever's coming up for them. There is a little bit of a structure to the way that we share. You are not filtered in any way. You get to come on and share what's good, share what's bad, share whatever it is. But everyone's there with the intention of bettering themselves, and also with some understanding that everything's happening for us, even if sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And so it's like we're talking about things, kind of trying to work through how do we fit in with this world that's not what we have been taught. And so if you want to come and join us, you're welcome anytime. Just send an email to get the link, or you can DM me on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram all the time, but you are welcome to do that, and I will get the link to you. I'm sending you so much love. Please subscribe if you have not already. Please rate and review the show if you have not already. It really helps to not only have people subscribe if they're listening, but also for, if you want to share it with someone or you write a review, it helps it get out to more of the people who are meant to hear it. And so it's one of the ways that you can make a difference, especially if these podcast episodes have meant something to you or have helped you in any way. Thank you so much. I love you. Have a glorious May. If this episode spoke to you, please subscribe and leave a review so others can find this show too. Your support helps this community grow and brings more voices into the conversation. Plus, I would love to hear your biggest takeaway. Thank you so much.